It is Friday. Yes, I have not recorded all week. Nothing new. I started to, I'll read, I'm currently in Matthew right now reading, but this year I wanted to dig into more of the start from the end, so I'm going into depth on Genesis. And so that's really what I've been doing this week, is just studying and looking into that stuff. I had a Bible study Tuesday for the men's. Did that. But yeah, other than that, softball, stuff like that. But now it's Friday, okay? And if you don't know, it's April 3rd. So, yeah. So the website will be open at 12. So I'm coming on here to figure it out, but I just have to turn it off and save it, and then it should be good. So, but we have an event next week, and so that should be good. Hopefully bring the stuff out there. If you are in Houston, pull up ThrillerCon, George R. Brown. Alright, vlog. It was Easter weekend, and I did not record much. Took a break a little bit, only because the Clothing Baron dropped on Friday, but got a few things sold. Then that started Good Friday, Holy Saturday, Resurrection Sunday. I really didn't vlog much, you know? I think I vlogged a little bit on the morning of Friday. Yeah, this is pretty much gonna be the whole vlog. I just wanted to come on here and, ask you guys a question. Or for y'all to ask yourself this question. Easter weekend just happened. Jesus dying on the cross and resurrecting on Sunday. I want you to ask, what does that mean for you? Okay? If you believe it to be true, what does that mean for you and your life? About Jesus, about what he says, about all of that. Okay? And if you don't believe the resurrection is true, I have some historical writings that talk about Jesus dying, okay, and his followers believing he rise from the dead, okay? First one is Tacitus, written around, he's a Roman historian, okay, around around 116 AD, he writes that Jesus, called Christus, I don't know if I said that right, was executed under Pontius Pilate, okay? Now, he doesn't specifically talk about the resurrection here, but he specifically talks about Jesus dying, and then he also adds in that his movement continued after his death, okay? The next one is Josephus, which is a Jewish historian, okay? He talks about how Jesus was crucified, and his followers claimed he appeared alive again, okay? Now, some scholars will say that his writings were edited, but even critical scholars, it says this, even critical scholars agree it originally mentioned Jesus, the crucifixion. Now we have another one. I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Pliny the Younger, okay? He's a Roman official writing to Emperor, I don't even know if I'm going to say this right either, Trajan, Trajan. Okay, he described Christians as singing to Christ as to a god, worshiping him very early, okay, within decades of his death. Another one is Lucian of Samosata in the 2nd century. He mocked Christians for worshiping a crucified man and believing he still lived. And I don't want you to take all of this and simply just believe it because I said it, okay? Go in, look it up, okay? Do your own research. Last one is, oh my gosh, Mara bar Serapion. He said that he wrote about a wise king of the Jews who was executed. Said his teachings lived on afterwards, okay? Those are all sources outside of the Bible. Obviously, we can see biblically, those writings talk about him, dying, being risen again, okay? So I want you to look at this, look into it, because just like how C.S. Lewis says, he says this quote, if Christianity is true, it is of infinite importance, okay? And if false, of no importance, okay? So looking into it yourself, Christianity cannot be partially true and partially false. It is whether it is infinitely important or no importance at all. I believe it to be infinitely important. That is why I always talk about it, and it has changed my life. Look into it. That's pretty much it. This next week we have an event, so most likely the vlog is going to be based around prepping for the event. It's Monday, so I got all my hangers right here that I'm about to start going through and talking to y'all about that. So if I'm wearing the same outfit, that's why. But yeah, appreciate y'all for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.